Can get you. Excuse me. Peace, peace, peace. Keeping it real with Rami, coming to you live once again. If I sound a little sick, it's because I'm fighting through this cold. We got the ginger and lemon tea. I want to give a shout out to Boathouse Farms. See that right there. Acai Plus 10 Super Blend with 10 super fruits. We got apple. Oh, excuse me. Pronounced Asahi, not Acai. Asahi. Apple, Asahi, black currant, raspberry, bilberry, blueberry, yumberry, goji berry, pomegranate, and mangosteen. I'm not getting paid for that by them, but the smoothie, the little juice came through for the boy last night, so I just want to give him a shout out, say thank you. But now let's get to the class. Now let's get to the topic of today, the discussion. What we talking about, Rami? Well, it's the Moor versus the white college professor. Oh my goodness. They talking about race. Oh yeah. We going there today. Yes, indeed. So get your pen, your pad, get your notes ready. You know what I mean? Get your Googles prepared. You know what I mean? First, we're going to go to a clip of the professor, and let me introduce her. Name is Jacqueline Jones, history, I believe it's social history, a professor at the University of Texas. She wrote a couple of books. One is called Created Equal, A Social and Political History of the United States. The other, which we're going to be focusing on, is Dreadful Deceit, The Myth of Race from the Colonial Era to Obama's America. So first we're going to go to a clip of Jacqueline Jones speaking, and then we're going to come back. We'll have a little discussion. All right.
And today we're here with Jacqueline Jones. Hi, Jackie.
Hi, Joan.
Jackie Jones is a specialist in American history, and she's a regular contributor to Not Even Past. In fact, her book was the first book we featured when we started Not Even Past. And she's just published a new book called A Dreadful Deceit, The Myth of Race from the Colonial Era to Obama's America. Jackie, let's start with the paradoxes at the heart of the book. It's really a book that's founded on a paradox and full of paradoxes. There's no historical or biological basis for racial ideas, but the concept of race is at the center of American history and American life. And the use of race has become a tool for creating and promoting and maintaining power hierarchies. And yet, the first paradox is that before the American Revolution, you argued that slavery existed without any sort of basis in race or ideas about race justifying it.
Right. The slaveholders I looked at in 17th century Maryland and also 18th century South Carolina were looking for the most efficient workforces they could find, and those happened to be Africans and people of African descent, because in this Atlantic world of colliding empires, Africans were the most vulnerable. Mm-hmm. They did not have a nation state to rescue or redeem them. They did not command the high seas. And it was for this reason that Africans and their descendants were enslaved. The slaveholders I looked at did not talk about race. They did not use that as a reason for enslaving a group of people.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hey, she dropping some jewels on you, and we gonna get to them. But I want to give you just a little more of the backstory to paint the full picture. Now, I got put on to Jacqueline Jones from my dad. He had sent me a text or called me and said, "Hey, you need to check this this lady speaking on C-SPAN out. She talking about the myth of race, blah, blah, blah." I think I was at work or something, so I couldn't watch it then. But when I got home, I did a little Google search, and they had a clip online. So I'm watching the clip, and I'm like, man, she dropping some jewels, man. She really speaking some things on here. You know what I mean? If you really paying attention and listening. And I said, well, I'm going to do one further. I'm going to reach out to her. You know what I mean? I'm going to see how far, how willing is she to speak the truth. And so I sent her an email, and I wrote it down so I could read it to you. And you can see it on the screen also. You know what I mean? Follow along, please. First and foremost, thank you very much for all you have done, are doing, and will do. And I got her email because she's a college professor. So I just went to the University of Texas, looked up the the staff looked up her name, got her public email. So if you're wondering how I get in contact with her, that's the logic how I did that. Continuing. I'm listening to your presentation from C-SPAN, and I greatly appreciate the truth being conveyed. I have a question that I would love your input or perspective on. Something I find very puzzling is how most other groups of people have a national name. Irish for those from Ireland, or Japanese for those from Japan, English from England. Blacks, quote unquote, have no nation to link back to, and African American links back to two distinct continents. Here's the question. Please pay attention because this is going to be very key as we move forward. Do you, Jacqueline Jones, know what is the nationality or national name of the blacks, Negroes, or African Americans? Thank you very much for your perspective. Have a great day. Peace and love, Rami Salam. And I sent this February 11, 2014. It's a while ago. She got back to me in about an hour, same day. Boom. I said, well, it's interesting, huh? Would you like to know what she said? Yeah. Listen closely, okay? And remember, the question was, let me just read the question one more time. Do you, talking to Jacqueline Jones now, do you know what is the nationality or national name of the quote-unquote blacks, Negro, or African Americans? That's the question at hand, okay? Now let's hear a response. This is a college professor, wrote 2 books, well studied in history. Let me get some tea. This is funny to me. Thank you for your message. Dear Rami, thank you for your message. Certainly, in early American colonial history, people from Africa were known by their cultural or ethnic group. Igbo, for example. Did I mention cultural or ethnic group in my email? Let's continue. Were known by their cultural or ethnic group, Igbo, for example, and not by their continents of origin. Gradually, ethnic identifications, did I mention ethnic identification? Dissolved, and African American became the common signifier. And black and person of color came to signify descendants of slaves. I certainly agree with you that these signifiers are confusing and ultimately, historically, inaccurate. Best, Jacqueline Jones. Family, I'm struggling here. I need you to help me out. Please help me out now. My question was very simple. Do you know the nationality or national name of the people that are called Black, African American, Negroes? Did at any point in this entire response that she sent, did she even mention the word nationality? What about national name? Did she even mention any other nation? Nah, I think, she just, we go, whoop, 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 whoop. Ain't that something? Did you peep that? Did you listen again? The question, I'm going to read it again because I really want you to understand this. This is a college professor. Her specialty is history. She talking about how the race is a myth. So she understands. It's not like she's ignorant. It's not like the question was, over her head or some advanced, just so intelligent question that she couldn't comprehend. So let's read it again. Let's understand this. Dear Rami, thank you for your message. Certainly in early American colonial history, people from Africa were known by their cultural or ethnic group, Igbo, for example. Did I ask Jacqueline Jones, how were people from Africa known by in early American colonial history? Did I ask that? No. Ethnic group Igbo, for example, and not by their continents of origin. Gradually, ethnic identifications. Did I ask what happened to ethnic identifications throughout American colonial history? No. Dissolved, and African American became the common signifier. Did I say anything about signifiers or common signifiers? No. And black and person of color came to signify descendants of slaves. Now that's key. Black and person of color came to signify descendants of slaves. Understand, when you call yourself black, that's what you're saying, that you are the descendant of a slave, that your history only goes back as far as slavery. Understand that. I certainly agree with you that these signifiers are confusing and ultimately historically inaccurate. Best Jacqueline Jones. Question I want to pose to you. If she understands that these signifiers are confusing and ultimately historically inaccurate, why is she using them to refer to us? If she's able to admit this, how come we aren't able to admit this? Another question. Now you see, I had a pretty good feeling when I asked her the question, she wasn't gonna answer the way I thought. It can't. And this confirmed it to me, is that even if people know, they can only go but so far. They can't really speak the truth. They can't say, yes, you know what? So-called black people are actually Moors. You're right. They can't. Now, maybe it's because they under an oath, maybe because they so frightened. I don't know exactly the reason why. But I do know that they know what's going on. And people are choosing not to speak the truth. People are choosing to misinform, mislead us, to confuse us about who we truly are. And how can I say I know that? Well, let's think about something. In that clip I showed you, she said Africans, Jacqueline Jones, the professor, said Africans were most vulnerable here in Americas because they had no nation state to rescue them, nor did they command the high seas. And this is why the people of African descent were enslaved. If you've seen any of the previous videos, then you know that our nationality, the so-called black man, the so-called African Americans, the people of color, quote unquote Negroes, our true nationality is Moorish American. And you can find that very simply by studying the works of a man named Noble Drew Ali, Drewali, and specifically this little small pamphlet, Quran Questions for Moorish Americans. It's very simple, 100 questions, one question and an answer. And very clearly, what is your nationality? Moorish American. Why are we Moorish Americans? Because we are descendants of Moroccans and born in America. And further, to clarify, to expand on it, he says very clearly in the Quran Circle 7 that he brought for us, to come all ye Asiatics of America and hear the truth about your nationality and birthrights, because you are not Negroes. So, like Jacqueline Jones, Drew Ali agrees, Negro is not historically accurate term for us. Neither is people of color, neither is black, neither is African American. The truly historically accurate term for us, African people in North America specifically, North, Central, and South America, and the islands, is Moors, Moorish American, to be specific. And he confirmed, let me read this last one. the nationality of the Moors was taken away from them in 1774, and the word Negro, black, and color was given to the Asiatics of America who were Moorish descent because they honored not the principles of their mother and father, and straight after the gods of Europe whom they knew nothing of. Now. I mean, I want you to study more. I want you to look into this for yourself. Better yet, whoever you are, whoever's watching, I want you to ask your college professor, ask your high school history teacher, ask them, what is the nationality of blacks or African Americans? And you can reference Jacqueline Jones' book, The Dreadful Deceit, The Myth of Race, and say, well, this professor clearly says that, race is a myth and that these terms are not historically accurate. So could you tell us what is the nationality or national name for blacks or Negroes? Don't mention Moors, don't mention Noble Drew Ali, don't mention none of that. Just ask them that question and see their response. Way back in peep game. See what happens. Yeah. I think that's all for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you disagree, if you feel there's something I said that was inaccurate, please let me know. I'm open to being incorrect. See, in this whole thing, I've come to learn that it's not about me being right or you being wrong. It's not about that. It's about, is this information accurate? Is it exact? Or is it inaccurate? Is it incorrect? Simple as that. Thank you. Much love. Love over hate. Love, truth, peace, freedom, justice is the way. And that's it. Watch your hands. Woo!